Hello, welcome to the perspective of a trailblazer. Today's topic is very, very dear to my heart. I always tell my team that finance is an area that used to bully me a lot and a lot. And actually, I am graduating in finance very soon. And it's a full-time course that I took because I was very, very tired of being bullied in that area. And I want to share with you how faith and finance really are one thing, and how faith played a huge role to build my financial muscles. So stay with me. When I started my business, I completely underestimated the role that faith has in shaping and growing finances or financial capacity. You know, all our struggle, the struggle of feeling like you don't have enough. I felt that way. The feeling of not being sure what generosity means, when and how to be generous. Or the struggle of even feeling possibly that you could potentially be guilty or misuse financial wealth. So stay with me as I share with you a few secrets that I have applied in my life that are rooted in faith that really automated my financial growth. First of all, and I'm sure probably most of you who are faith-based know this already, that finance and money in general is very spiritual, because money is power. So money is very spiritual. Okay, let's establish that. And if you don't agree with me, look around in your family. You will find patterns in your parents' lives, in their parents, or even just people that are closely related to you, even people that are from where you're from. You realize that you can have a common denominator of how you handle money. Are we now safe to say that finance and faith are very interconnected? And I will tell you they're interconnected not because money is highly spiritual. They're also interconnected because faith is like a programming and automation that comes to establish financial capacity and wealth. The second thing that I learned, and I learned it when I have really failed a lot in the area of finances. I have failed, gotten my business to bankruptcy, all these things, all these mistakes, when I was really even afraid of how the next day things will be. I learned so after you have understood and have agreed with me that money and finance are highly spiritual, I would like to invite you to understanding and adopting the mindset of stewardship. So stewardship is a principle that we find a lot in the Bible. And that's also why I connect this to faith. But many religions or faith really recognize that stewardship is a life principle that is really, really good. But from my perspective, it's from a godly perspective. Stewardship, looking at money as something that you don't own, that is really a tool that is helping you bless other people, contribute to your country, contribute to the world in a positive way, develop new products, take your family to a holiday that will break family tension, or buy yourself something that is really useful as a comfortable car. All this comes under a principle that guides my life, that is stewardship. No matter how much, in terms of a lot or little that you have, you can start now at looking at money as something that you don't own and that doesn't own you, that is just a tool that you are trusted to manage. So stewardship, in other words, is management. And you only manage, let's say, even at Wood Habitat, I only give responsibilities in my company. I only give responsibilities to people who have the management and the leadership abilities. That's the only people I give more and more responsibilities and more trust. And eventually these are people who end up growing and having super fulfilling lives. The same thing with when you look at money from a perspective of stewardship, and then it gives you the ability to be more prepared. Because once you understand that you are a steward, you are a manager, then you'll be prepared to handle more. Where you handled 1 million, you start handling 10, or you start handling 100. Because the more you prepare from your mind, understanding that you're just a manager and a steward of resources that are going through you, you will be at a higher percentage, a higher possibility of success. The third principle that I hold close to myself is contentment. Whoever we are, wherever we are in our financial journey, there is always a sense of wanting more. Yeah, there's always a sense of wanting more in terms of growing financially. But contentment is a secret weapon, because it arms you with energy. The more you are content, contentment is not complacency, please hear me well. It's not saying I have arrived. No. It's saying I have not yet arrived, and there's not destination per se, but I am on the right track, and I track my steps every day. And that gives you so much energy. And we know that there's nothing. You don't know how to make money if you lack energy. In the spiritual or by faith, you cannot make any change if you lack energy. In other words, faith requires energy. Making money requires energy. Growing financially requires energy. And it's an energy that comes from contentment. Me, myself, as a leader, there are times that I doubled the salaries of some people without them even asking me. Just because the way they deliver, the way they are good steward of what I commit to them, and the way they are content, you never smell an energy of resentment or bitterness or, that kind of energy of being too hungry. It's a no. Especially if you really mean business and wanting to build wealth and growing financially. Nobody likes anybody who feels like they are just there to get something out of them. Yeah? Okay? The last thing, which is, this one, you will love me. Because when I found this secret, I think it is deliverance. So the secret goes it's a secret that I use especially in finance, is I replaced financial goals with financial disciplines that I track daily. Guys, was that so good? So the first thing is I understood that having a financial goal is good. Everybody has financial goals. There's nobody. People might lack goals in their lives, but when it comes to financial goals, people have goals. But one thing I realized in my life, there are many times I had financial goals. But every time, what achieved me success is not the goal, it's the discipline. So there is such a thing as financial disciplines. Let me ask you a question right now. What are your financial disciplines when it comes to saving, giving, spending, investing? Okay, let's stop there. The four main ones. What are your financial disciplines when it comes to saving, giving, spending, and investing? I'll give you an example. There was a time that I was struggling financially so much. And that's a time I sat down and I continued praying, and I'll get to prayer. I continued praying, but I couldn't break through. And for months and months, I was praying, I was fasting, I was doing the best that I could do in terms of making money, but it wasn't really producing that kind of breakthrough until I learned the secret of praying while having daily activities, daily actions every day that leads to my financial freedom, financial abundance. And that was what? Saving. We cannot over communicate when it comes to the power of savings, to the power of spending appropriately, and the power of the right investment. We cannot underestimate the power that those four things have in our lives. I will have a longer episode if you will go ahead and tell me if this topic is very relevant. And I'm really just humbly sharing what I've learned because I made so many mistakes in that. And I am hoping that you are able to look at finance as a highly spiritual ground that needs you to be faith-filled and correctly educated and prepared. Those two things. Faith, to me, means prayer and fasting, because this is what billionaires do. They have prayer altars. They fast and pray for their wealth. But on top of that, they don't just fast and pray. They also save. They also invest. They also give a lot. And you can see them prioritizing giving before they buy their favorite bags. And isn't that a secret? I think to me, the more I started understanding the secret that is in there, I was very happy. And I started seeing growth in that area. So I'm wishing you all the best. Please continue to share with me what are the areas in your life that are resonating, or how would you like me to go forward with this content. Continue to like and share so that we can keep this coming. Thank you.